Hey everyone, tonight we're going to do something a little wild. Picture this, it's cold. I mean, really cold. Your nose freezes when you breathe, kind of cold. I wake up tangled in furs, with the smell of smoke clinging to everything, including me. My back's sore from sleeping on packed earth, and somewhere nearby, someone is snoring like a dying boar. Welcome to prehistoric times, baby. This isn't some cute cartoon version with friendly dinosaurs. Nope. This is the Upper Paleolithic period, roughly 20,000 years ago, give or take a few millennia. And spoiler alert, you probably won't survive. Everything out here wants to eat you, freeze you, or give you a bacterial infection your immune system doesn't even have a name for yet. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Also, I'd love to know where you're listening from, when, what time it is. Post your location and local time in the comments. Seriously, it's fun to see how far this little campfire circle reaches. Turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. The first thing I notice is the light, just a dull gray bleeding into the hide-covered gaps of the mammoth skin tent. We call it a tent generously. It's basically a frame made from mammoth ribs covered in stretched animal hides, cozy in a horrifyingly prehistoric way. My sleeping mat is a mix of furs from reindeer and muskox, layered over bare dirt that's been stamped flat by generations of feet. I sit up slowly, wrapped in pelts, and stretch until my bones crack like dry wood. The air inside is smoky and smells of tallow, soot, and fermented something. I don't ask what. All around me, other clan members are beginning to stir. I hear a low murmur, someone sneezing, a baby fussing in the arms of a mother who's already up. She's feeding it something from a hollow gourd, probably some mashed root or sour milk. Breakfast of ancient champions. The fire in the center of the shelter has died down to glowing coals. A boy no older than 8 prods it with a stick. Sparks leap like fireflies and disappear into the smoke hole above. His face is streaked with soot. I think his name is Guck, but honestly, names are weird. Here some of them are more like throat sounds than actual words. Outside I can hear the wind pushing against the shelter, making the mammoth hides flap like sails. It's early spring, which means the snow is still crusty and thick in spots, but patches of muddy ground are beginning to emerge. I peek out and see the light changing. The sun's rising, turning the sky into a soft watercolor of pink and slate blue. A woman, tall, weathered, eyes like flint, pulls back the flap and enters, bringing with her a gust of freezing air. She's holding a bundle of kindling and dried moss. She mutters something, then squats by the hearth, working quickly to reignite the fire. One spark, two, then flames crackle to life again, lapping up the oxygen like they've missed it. This is Tika. She's not the clan leader, but she runs this part of camp like a prehistoric general. She nods at me, barely acknowledging my disoriented stares. I guess time travel hangovers aren't unusual around here. The clan itself, about 30 people, is part of a semi-nomadic group that moves between river valleys depending on the season. Right now, we're tucked into a natural basin with cliffs on one side and forest on the other. It's perfect for protection from wind and predators. Well, most predators. As the fire warms the shelter again, others join us. An older man with a pronounced limp, probably from a long-heeled bone, breaks it and starts humming softly. He's got a face like a tree stump and eyes that seem to look through you. I call him Grandpa Stickface in my head. He never tells stories, but the kids listen when he mutters. I think he knows where the bodies are buried, or maybe where the mammoths are. Food appears from a stone-lined pit, leftover charred roots, dried meat, and a thick paste made from ground seeds. It tastes like earthy peanut butter mixed with sadness, but it's calories, and that's the only currency that matters out here. While I chew, I look down at my hands, calloused, dirty, one nails cracked. I can't remember the last time I washed them, and there's something sticky under one nail that I hope is tree sap. That's the thing. Everything here is raw Rayolan, no deodorant, no filters, and definitely no oat milk. lattes.sie. Few of the younger men gather in a corner, whispering in low tones. They're going on a hunt later. I catch bits of words: horse, track, spear. One of them is sharpening a flint blade on a piece of sandstone, and the sound is weirdly satisfying. And here's a fun fact: Cro-Magnon people, yes, like mean, bigger brains on average than modern humans. That's right, more brain matter. But before you get cocky, remember they also thought the moon was a glowing god egg and routinely drank cold blood. So, trade-offs. By now, the camp outside is coming alive. Kids run barefoot through the snow, throwing bits of charred bone at each other and giggling. A woman yells at them in a tone that transcends all language. Even here, you can tell when someone's yelling. I swear if you break that again, there's a sense of rhythm to it all. Wake, fire, eat, plan, survive, repeat, and repeat, and repeat. I take a deep breath, stepping outside fully for the first time. The cold air hits like a slap, but the sunlight is golden and clear. I can see smoke curling from other shelters, a group of women grinding seeds near the river, and someone, I think, is the clan leader, pacing like he's waiting for bad news from the weather gods. And there it is. That strange feeling like you're living in the prologue of everything, the very beginning, before the wheel, before writing, before TikTok. Just you, your clan, and the wind. The fire's going strong now, throwing flickering orange light across the inside of the shelter. Outside, the sun's risen just enough to make the snow look like a dirty sheet someone left out too long. It's morning in prehistory, and everyone's got something to do, even if that something is just don't die. I pull on a fur wrap, some kind of reindeer skin that smells suspiciously like last week's stew, and duck out into the cold. My breath clouds in front of me, and the muddy snow squelches under my feet. Half the camp is already awake. The rest are pretending they're still asleep, which I respect. First order of business, restoking the communal fire. There are smaller fires near each shelter, but the big one in the center is like the heart of the camp. Lose it, and you're one frozen sneeze away from being saber-tooth bait. A few clan members are already there, huddled like penguins, tossing in sticks and bones. I join them, holding out my hands and flexing my fingers like I'm warming up for a concert. Except, instead of a piano, I'm about to help someone skin a rabbit. The fire crackles, and I get a whiff of something sharp and meaty. Someone's roasting what I think is a hare, or a very plump rat. It's hard to say. I sit beside a woman named Renna, who's using a flat stone to grind up dried mushrooms. She gestures to me with a grin, offering a chunk of something leathery. It's meat, possibly bison, possibly not bison. It's chewy, it's salty, and there's a good chance it's been hanging in smoke for the better part of a month. But hey, protein is protein. Good, she says with a smirk, then wipes her nose on her forearm. I nod, chewing like I'm trying to convince my jaw it's still under warranty. Fun fact, they used to flavor food with wild garlic, crushed berries, and sometimes fermented fish guts. That last one, still used today in certain Scandinavian dishes. Ancient people, culinary pioneers and daredevils. Someone tosses a bundle of twigs into the fire, and smoke rushes up like it's late for a meeting. I blinked through it, and that's when I noticed the smell. Not just the fire but us. The whole camp smells like wet dog and burnt soup. I'm starting to understand why ancient folks probably kept some distance when courting each other, as part of the morning routine. A few of us go down to the river. Washing isn't exactly common, but splashing your face with icy water is less about hygiene and more about proving you're not a wimp. I follow a group of women and teens, some carrying stone bowls, others toting reed baskets. The river is half frozen, with chunks of ice clinking together like prehistoric wind chimes. I kneel at the edge, scoop up a handful of water, and immediately regret every life choice that led me to this moment. It's so cold, like brain freeze cold, but after the shock wears off, I realize it feels kind of amazing. Clean, sharp, invigorating. We don't use soap because, well, soap hasn't been invented yet. But moss works surprisingly well as a sponge, and certain types are even naturally antiseptic. There's debate among anthropologists about whether they used it deliberately for hygiene, or just because it was squishy and fun to squeeze. Either way, I'm on Team Moss. Back in camp, the breakfast fire has morphed into something more social. A few of the men are cracking jokes in that weird universal language of caveman sarcasm, grunts, face gestures, and exaggerated imitations of yesterday's failed spear throw. One guy gets up, mimics a deer, then pretends to faint dramatically. Everyone laughs. Even Grandpa Stickface chuckles through his beard. And in the middle of it all is the funk. Not music though, they do make sounds with flutes made from bird bones. But the smell, we stink, all of us, like a combination of damp leather, wood smoke, and unwashed ambition. But weirdly, it's comforting. The stink means you're part of something, part of this strange, dirty, beautiful clan. Nobody here is trying to be impressive there, just trying to stay alive, share food, and maybe not get stepped on by a woolly rhino. As the sun climbs higher, I wander over to the meat drying racks. Strips of horse, reindeer, and something that looks suspiciously like fish are strung up like prehistoric jerky. A few flies buzz lazily around, which is impressive considering it's barely above freezing. One of them lands on my arm, and I swat at it and miss. These bugs are fast and huge. Did you know that prehistoric flies were likely larger than today's? Because they didn't have pesticides or plastic wrappers to discourage them. That's my theory. Anyway, there's no solid evidence for the exact size of Upper Paleolithic flies, but based on what just dive-bombed my eye, I'm going with angry hummingbird. Around mid-morning, the clan starts gathering again, not just to eat, but to plan. Today's a hunting day, and that means the warriors and their apprentices are suiting up. Which brings me to one of my favorite parts of camp life, prehistoric fashion. Fur tunics, leather belts, bone jewelry, and sometimes feathers or beads if you're feeling fancy. Face paint is also a thing. Earthy reds, charcoal blacks, sometimes even white, from crushed shells. It's not just decoration, it's intimidation, signaling, and spiritual protection all rolled into one. One of the younger guys gestures to me, then smears a bit of red ochre across my cheek. It smells like clay and sweat. I look around, everyone's nodding. I guess I'm officially part of the day's routine now. The wind picks up again, and I wrap myself tighter in the fur cloak I borrowed last night. As I huddled by the fire, a little girl walks past, dragging a raccoon skull on a string like it's a toy. She smiles at me, revealing exactly 3 teeth. One is gold. I don't ask. Despite the weirdness, the chaos, and the overwhelming scent of roasted roots, there's something comforting in the rhythm. Morning here isn't just about waking up, it's about preparing, strengthening, setting the tone for survival. And as much as I miss warm showers and electric kettles, there's something grounding about starting your day knowing you're part of a tribe, even if half of them think farting is an acceptable way to end a conversation. They hand me a spear, not a plastic replica or some kind of museum prop. No, this thing is real. The shaft is thick ash wood, smoothed from use, worn at the grip, and ending in a flint point, so sharp it could slice your thoughts in half. I stare at it like I've just been asked to babysit a tiger. Hold, says Gorn, one of the seasoned hunters, his massive biceps like tree trunks, beard like a cave's shadow. He gives me a firm nod that somehow means both don't die and try not to embarrass us. The hunting party is assembling near the edge of camp. 6 men, 2 teenagers, and now, me, the outsider. I should probably remind them that I have no idea how to throw a spear, track animals, or even reliably walk on icy mud. But instead, I just smile and say, cool, yeah, totally ready to die. We begin with face paint. It's a whole process. First, you rub a thin layer of animal fat across your cheeks so the paint sticks. Then someone ticker, in this case, uses her fingers to streak red and black across my face. She pauses, tilts her head, then adds 2 vertical white lines down my nose. She says something I don't catch, but it sounds admiring or, possibly, you look like a surprised bird. As we finish the prep, I notice the tools we're carrying. Spears, yes, but also throwing sticks, slings, and one guy has a bundle of sharpened antler spikes. Flint knives hang from leather belts, and pouches filled with resin or dry moss are tied at the hip. It's a full prehistoric utility belt. Here's your historical nugget of the day. Cro-Magnon people didn't just chuck spears and hope. They used spear throwers called otlotls, which are carved wooden levers that act like an arm extender. This little innovation lets them hurl a spear at ridiculous speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour. That's nearly highway velocity, but with pointy ends. Go now, says Gorn, and we head out. The forest looms ahead, gnarled pines, low-hanging branches, and a floor layered with damp leaves and rabbit scat. We move quietly, stepping over roots and avoiding puddles, following a trail worn by generations of hunters and maybe a few unlucky prey. I keep my eyes down and try not to trip on anything that looks vaguely lethal. Spoiler alert, everything looks vaguely lethal. A younger boykish, maybe 15, walks beside me. He's barefoot and completely at ease. He carries a small slingshot-like weapon and wears a necklace of squirrel teeth. He notices me looking and offers a grin that's half amusement, half pity. "You soft foot," he whispers, tapping his chest. "I strong foot." "Cool, strong foot," I whisper back. "Try not to let me die, okay?" He laughs, then makes a shushing gesture. "Right, hunting, stealth mode. The deeper we go, the quieter everything gets. Birds fall silent, branches creak overhead, and that's when the smell hits. Earthy, wild, musky, animal scent. Someone up front holds up a hand, and the group stops. Gorn kneels, fingers brushing the ground. He lifts a handful of dirt and crumbles it between his fingers. Then he leans closer and sniffs it. Yes, this man is sniffing dirt, and now I am, too. It smells like, well, dirt, but wetter, and vaguely poop-adjacent. Turns out, this is one of the ways they track animals, by examining scat and disturbed foliage. It's gross, it's genius, and it's wildly effective. I watch as Gorn points to a spot where the grass is bent. A hoofprint, maybe several. The group murmurs approval, and we move again. As we creep forward, I feel this weird energy building in my chest. Part anxiety, part excitement. My hand tightens on the spear. Somewhere ahead, a herd of horses. Yes, horses are grazing or moving slowly through the brush. These aren't your stable-trained carrot-nibbling friends. These are short, stocky, ice-age horses, with thick winter coats and serious side-eye. Kesh leans in and whispers, "Close." He's right. The tracks are fresh, the smell's stronger, the tension electric. Everyone starts to spread out, forming a loose arc. This is the ambush setup. We'll try to corner a straggler or stampede them into confusion. I crouch behind a shrub that may or may not be poison ivy, breathing shallowly. A bird calls in the distance. Then silence. My ears ring with anticipation, and then I see them. Through the trees, about 30 yards away, a small herd, maybe a dozen horses, their coats thick with mud, manes tangled. One of them looks right at me, and I freeze. Do not move, do not blink, do not make awkward eye contact. The signal comes. Gorn whistles, a sharp bird-like sound. Everything explodes. Hunters burst from the trees, shouting, waving weapons, trying to scatter the herd. The horses rear and snort, eyes rolling, hooves pounding. I charge forward like a very confused extra in a battle scene, trying to look useful. One horse veers too close, and Kesh hurls a rock from his sling. It smacks the horse's haunch, causing it to veer away from me. I lift my spear, unsure whether to throw it or just hold it like a security blanket, and then everything goes sideways. From the left, there's a thundering crash and a bellow. Not from a horse, no, from something much bigger, an aurochs. You ever seen a cow on steroids? An aurochs is a massive wild ancestor of modern cattle, standing nearly 6 feet at the shoulder, with horns that could take down a wall. It looks at me and charges. I do the only reasonable thing. I scream like a tea kettle, and throw my spear blindly. It misses, by a lot. I dive to the side as the aurochs barrels past, stomping a small tree flat. Someone shouts. Gorn hurls his spear and actually hits the beast's flank, but it doesn't stop. The aurochs storms off into the forest, bleeding and furious. I lie on my back, heart pounding, face in the mud, thinking, so that happened. Kesh appears above me, grinning. You scream like baby bear. Thank you, I croak. You fight like angry mosquito. He offers a hand and helps me up. My knees are shaking, and there's a twig in my hair the size of a finger. I look around. The herd's gone, the hunter mess, but no one's dead, which, honestly, is a win in my book. I survived my first prehistoric hunt, kind of. We're regrouping now. The horses are long gone, scattered like leaves in the wind. The aurochs, our uninvited chaos guest, has probably crashed halfway into the next valley. The hunters are panting, wiping mud and sweat from their faces. A few chuckle at me in a way that's not quite mean. More like, that was dumb, but you lived, so, respect. I limp over to a fallen log and plop down, doing my best to look like this was part of the plan all along. Kesh plops beside me, digs into a leather pouch, and pulls out what I think is dried lizard jerky. He tears off a piece and hands the rest to me. You run fast, he says with a grin. For a tree. Thanks. I wheeze. I practice. Running from death. Gorn is already back to tracking. The man is tireless. He's examining a small tuft of coarse hair caught on a thorn bush and gesturing for silence. The rest of us take the cue and shut up. He kneels again, sniffing yep. We're back to sniffing and mutters something under his breath. I squint, down at the ground. I can barely tell dirt from more dirt, but these people, they read it like a comic book. Flattened grass, hoof indentations, broken twigs, they all paint a picture. Here's your historical dose of real talk. Prehistoric trackers were astonishingly good. Some could follow an animal for miles just from a pattern of bent grass. Modern-day sand bushmen in Africa use similar techniques, and anthropologists still argue over just how sophisticated prehistoric cognition had to be to track like that. Some say it was instinct. Others argue it was proto-science, deeply intuitive, understanding of ecosystems. Either way, it's amazing and slightly intimidating. We follow the trail quietly. This time, it leads through a marshy patch of reeds and into a low valley. Mud squishes underfoot, occasionally sucking at our shoes or, in some cases, bare feet, with a sound I can only describe as prehistoric flatulence. One of the teens mirrors up a fist, the universal signal for stop. Something's up. We freeze. A flicker of movement just ahead, a single horse, smaller than the others, probably a juvenile, lagging behind. It steps slowly, ears flicking, tail twitching at the massive prehistoric flies. It doesn't see us. Gorn raises his ATL. The mood shifts instantly. Every breath is held, every foot rooted. Kesh reaches into his pouch for another rock. I hold my broken pride in one hand and my spear in the other. Gorn winds back, then releases. The spear slices the air with a deadly whistle and thunks into the horse's shoulder. It screams a sound I won't try to describe and stumbles instantly. We break cover. The horse stumbles through the reeds, bleeding, panicked. Two more spears fly. One hits its flank. The other misses and sticks into a tree. Kesh shouts and races ahead, circling to cut off escape. I want to help, I really do. But my legs are jelly and my palms are clammy, and I keep thinking about that aurochs. Still I follow. I'm not useless, I just have a talent for survival through observation. We corner the horse near a rocky outcropping. It's limping badly now, bleeding heavily, trembling from exhaustion. Kesh moves in, low and calm, whispering something soothing. The others surround it in a loose semicircle. One final throw. Gorn again, clean, efficient. The horse crumples. There's a strange silence after. Not celebration, not grief either. Just stillness, respect. The hunters step forward, touching the fallen animal's flank, murmuring thanks. This part always surprises me. These people hunt with reverence. They don't waste. They don't kill for fun. Everything they do comes from necessity, ritual, and survival. It's humbling. I kneel beside the horse, watching blood soak into the ground. Its eyes are still open, glassy now. Kesh touches its mane gently, then glances at me. Good hunt, he says. Scary hunt, I reply. Same thing, he shrugs. The work begins immediately. Out come the knives, small, wickedly sharp blades made of obsidian. Obsidian, by the way, makes some of the sharpest cutting edges known to humankind. Sharper than surgical steel, according to modern tests. So prehistoric people were rocking ancient scalpels. Gorn slices the underbelly with practiced ease. Others begin to peel back skin, separating muscle and tendon. Blood steams in the cold air. I step back, not out of disgust, but to give them space. They know what they're doing. Another hunter, Dren, hands me a small stone bowl and gestures to a pile of organs. I assume this is the help or else moment. I take the bowl and try to not drop it as he drops in a slippery hunk of something, red and squishy, possibly liver or lung. I don't ask. My job is to carry it back. Kesh catches me staring and says, "You learn. Next time, you cut." I'm already cut, I mutter, poking a splinter in my thumb. The disassembly takes nearly an hour. Every part of the animal is claimed. Meat for drying, hide for clothing, bones for tools, tendons for binding, even the hooves for glue. Waste nothing, that's the motto here. As we prepare to head back, someone grabs the horse's head and ties it to a stick. It'll be used in a ceremony later, or maybe for stew, or both. We sling strips of meat over wooden poles, creating makeshift carrying racks. I get assigned to carry a leg. It's heavy, drips blood, and smells like irony death. But hate him, player. The sun is dipping now, casting long shadows across the valley. Our boots squish back through the marsh. I glance behind us, half expecting the aurochs to return with a vengeance. It doesn't, But the thought lingers. As we trudge back, I notice something odd. Some of the hunters are humming, a rhythmic, deep-throated hum. It's not quite a song, not quite a chant, more like tradition, a way to pace the walk, maybe, or honor the spirit of the animal. I hum along, out of tune but heartfelt. Back at camp, smoke curls from the central fire. Kids come running to meet us, wide-eyed at the sight of fresh meat. Women emerge from shelters, ready with baskets, knives, and eager questions. The hunt wasn't perfect, but it was successful, and that means full bellies and good stories tonight. Someone takes the horse's head from the stick and holds it high. A few people cheer, a few look somber. The kids, they're just excited about the chance to poke something gross with a stick. Classic. I set down the leg I've been carrying and stretch my back until it pops. My arms ache, my legs are soaked in mud, and I'm pretty sure I smell like regret. But I'm alive. I help Dot, and tomorrow, I might even learn how to track poop, like Gorn. My arms are still trembling. We're back in camp, the sky slowly shifting into dusk, and I'm desperately trying to look like I didn't almost get gored by a prehistoric bull earlier, which, for the record, I definitely did. My knee still has an aurochs-shaped tremble going on, and my ego, it's somewhere back in that muddy clearing, probably stuck in hoofprints, but I'm not the only one licking wounds. One of the teens, Miro, has a gash on his forearm from a thorn bush he ran through while trying to chase the herd. A woman in a rabbit fur shawl gently presses moss onto the cut. He winces, then pretends it doesn't hurt. Classic teenager move. Even 20,000 years ago, the meat is laid out on stone slabs near the smoke racks. It's an assembly line of activity, slicing, salting, hanging. I try to help, but one of the elders gently nudges me aside when I accidentally drop a chunk of liver into the dirt. Not all of it, just a solid 30%. Still counts. The air is thick with smoke and noise. Some people are laughing, clapping each other on the back. Others are sitting quietly, cutting strips of meat with the precision of a sushi chef. Gorn is sharpening his obsidian blade again, even though it already looks sharp enough to cut moonlight. Dot. And then the bragging starts. The storytelling phase of the hunt is a real thing. Everyone's suddenly a poet, a comedian, and a heroic survivor of near-death experiences. Kesh puffs out his chest and reenacts the moment he dodged a kick from a horse, which somehow turns into a backflip in his retelling. Miro claims he saw the aurochs blink, which somehow means he stared death in the eye and walked away cooler than before. Then all heads turn toward me. "You," someone shouts, "Spearman." Oh no, oh no. They gather around like I'm about to unveil a prehistoric TED Talk. Gorn gives me a single nod, which I think means don't ruin our reputation. I clear my throat. Okay, so I saw the aurochs, right? Big, huge, the size of a log cabin if we had those. A few raised brows. It looked me in the eye, I swear, like it knew I was new here, like it had a grudge against tourists. Some laughter, encouraging. I threw my spear, I say dramatically, miming the action. It went that way. I point in completely the wrong direction, which was actually a very clever distraction technique. Now they're laughing. Even Grandpa Stickface chuckles, and I could have sworn his face was carved from walnut. Dot. I milk it just a little more, and then I did what any brave warrior would do in that moment. Ty dove straight into the mud, offered my soul to the spirits, and screamed like a hero. Kesh snorts so hard he spits moss tea out his nose. Very brave, Miro teases. We should paint you on cave. Maybe with big open mouth. Someone adds, for screaming. Perfect. I nod. Caption it. The great shout of 2025 BC. The teasing's all good-natured. In fact, I think this counts as initiation. In this world, surviving something stupid is basically how you earn your stripes. As the storytelling fades, a different mood settles over camp. It's calmer now, more focused. The clan starts preparing food, not just for tonight, but for storage. Every scrap is accounted for. Bones are set aside for tools. Tendons are stretched and dried for cordage. Even the fat is rendered in a heated stone bowl to make tallow. This stuff can be used for lighting, waterproofing, or, in my case, hairstyling. Don't ask. I wander over to where Tika is preparing a bundle of herbs and rubbing them onto strips of meat before hanging them above the fire. Flavor, I ask. She gives me a sideways glance. Preserved also tastes good. She hands me a sprig. It smells like wild garlic and pine needles. I nibble it and immediately regret every decision I've ever made. It tastes like licking a wet rock. But she's right, it does help keep bugs away, and adds a tangy, earthy kick to otherwise bland food. Nearby, Rena is making something that smells surprisingly sweet. I ask, and she holds up a gourd filled with mashed berries and honey. She uses a hollow bone to drizzle it over cooked marrow bones, an Ice Age dessert, apparently. Honestly, 10 out of 10, would recommend. One bite, and I'm rethinking everything. I thought I knew about early cuisine. As twilight creeps in, a few children start playing a game nearby. It involves throwing bones into a circle drawn in the dirt. I assume it's prehistoric bowling, or maybe something more ritualistic, like who can hit that weird rock. Either way, they're having a blast. One girl uses a stick as a fake spear and charges at a bush. The bush wins. While the fire crackles and the food smokes, I sit back on a log and let it all sink in. The warmth of the fire, the hum of voices, the occasional slap of a fish being cleaned. This moment, this messy, loud, slightly stinky oddly beautiful. And here's your quirky fact for the day. Some archaeologists believe prehistoric people may have used crocodile dung as sunscreen. That's right, smear a little reptile poop on your face and you're good to go. I think I'll stick with the mud mask I got from that spa once. Thanks. The sky has turned a soft violet now. Smoke rises in lazy spirals, and the stars begin to peek out, one by one. Somewhere nearby, an owl hoots. Someone lets out a fart that gets an uproarious response from the kids. Human comedy. Timeless dart in a quiet corner. I see one of the hunters giving Miro a new spearhead. He's earned it. The boy beams, holding it like it's a trophy. It's a moment of pride, of growth, of tradition being passed down. I glance down at my own hands, still sticky from meat and herbs. There's a smear of red ochre on my wrist. My back aches, my feet are cold. But in this exact moment, surrounded by laughter, smoke, and the smell of roasting meat, I feel like I belong. You ever try not to faint while holding a still warm horse intestine? Because I just did, and let me tell you, it's an underrated form of cardio. The kill is down. The hunters are back, and the work isn't done just because the meat's hanging on the racks. Now we're into the real nitty-gritty, carving up every usable scrap, and nothing gets wasted. Not even the stuff that makes your stomach do a little interpretive dance. I'm crouched beside a stone slab, while Rena and Tika show me how to separate sinew from meat. They do it with the same casual focus someone might use to fold laundry. Me, I'm trying not to dry heave into the fire. This tendon, Tika says, pointing with her obsidian knife. Good for bowstring, or thread, Rena adds, pulling a long glistening strand between her fingers like she's flossing a saber-toothed molars. The two of them make a good team Tika, with her razor-sharp precision, and Rena, who hums while she works, slicing through flesh like it's fruit. I admire it, even as I stare too long at something that might be a lung. I don't. Kesh flops down beside me with a hunk of horse rib in his hand and blood up to his elbows. He offers me a bite like he's handing over a slice of pizza. I pass, politely. He shrugs and takes a huge chomp, smiling through gristle like it's the best thing he's eaten all week. It probably is. We're at the phase where the skinning is mostly done, and now it's about removing organs, cleaning them, sorting what can be eaten right away versus what needs drying or salting. Gorn, of course, is leading the whole thing, like a prehistoric Gordon Ramsay. No waste, he says firmly when someone tosses a chunk of fat too close to the fire. That's the thing about this world. Waste is basically a 4-letter word. Every part of the animal gets used. Bones for tools and needles, fat for tallow, hide for clothing, organs for stew, and yes, even the stomach lining. That, apparently, can be cleaned and used as a water pouch. Fun fact, some anthropologists believe Cro-Magnon people used dried animal bladders as early versions of canteens. That's right, prehistoric hydration, brought to you by internal organs. Once the meat is cleaned and sorted, we start wrapping certain cuts in damp moss and bark. These get buried in shallow pits lined with stone, like a natural refrigerator. It's amazing. No Tupperware needed. Nature's cooler, literally. I'm handed a thin bone and shown how to scrape fat from a slab of hide. It's slippery, smelly, and deeply unpleasant, but oddly satisfying. The fat squishes out in pale yellow curls, which are then tossed into a carved stone bowl set near the fire. That'll be rendered down into cooking grease, lamp fuel, and maybe, if I'm lucky, primitive hair gel. Good scrape, Tika says approvingly. Thanks, I mumble. I trained for years in the noble art of fat handling. She doesn't laugh. Maybe it got lost in translation. Or maybe sarcasm hasn't evolved yet. As the sun drops further, casting golden light across the treetops, the smell in camp becomes overwhelming in the best way. Smoke, roasting meat, charred herbs, a bit of blood, a hint of moss, and just enough body odor to remind you deodorant won't be invented for 19,000 more years. And somehow, it works. It's the smell of survival. A group of kids come over and start poking at bones, sorting them into little piles. One of them picks up a horse's leg bone, whistles through the hollow end, and cackles like it's the best joke ever. Another tries to juggle 2 vertebrae and drops both on his foot. He yelps and runs off, barefoot and giggling. I think they're playing some version of Doctor and Monster. You know, wholesome prehistoric things. Meanwhile, Rena is teaching someone how to make a cutting tool from a shard of flint. She strikes a larger piece with a mist and crack, and a sharp sliver flakes off with a satisfying snap. She picks it up with practiced fingers and runs her thumb along the edge. Careful, she warns me, handing it over. Obsidian cut deep. No feel, just blood. She's not wrong. The edge is unbelievably fine, almost too perfect to come from nature. You could shave with this thing, or perform minor surgery. In fact, in modern times, surgeons have tested obsidian scalpels and found them superior in precision to steel blades. Imagine what these people could do if they had a YouTube channel. Suddenly, someone shouts, not an alarm or of an excited call. Tika stands and walks quickly toward the sound, and like any good time-traveling taglon, I follow. Turns out, Dren found something near the edge of camp, a horse tooth embedded with what looks like a bit of rock. He holds it up proudly, then plucks the stone out with a stick. It eat wrong, he says. Rock, in grass. Apparently, this poor horse was chewing when it bit down on a sharp stone-shattering part of the tooth. You can see where it was cracked, worn unevenly. The hunters nod in agreement, analyzing it like paleontologists at a dig site. That why weak, Gorn concludes. Slow runner. I nod thoughtfully, pretending I saw that too. As the final pieces of the animal are laid out, I notice something else. People are quieter now. The earlier bragging has faded. There's a kind of reverence taking over. No one says it outright, but it's clear. The work of survival isn't just physical. It's spiritual, ritualistic. That's when I see it. The horse's heart. It's been placed on a flat rock, cleaned and intact, and set near the fire. A few of the elders are gathered around it. Tika steps forward, lifts her hands skyward, and begins to chant softly. I don't recognize the words, but the rhythm is steady, ancient. Everyone around me stops. The moment is sacred. One of the children steps forward, maybe 8 years old. Dan touches the heart lightly with both hands, then steps back. It's an offering, not to gods necessarily, but to the spirits, to the animal's spirit, to the wild. There's an ongoing academic debate about whether Paleolithic people had structured religion, animistic beliefs, or something else entirely. But in moments like this, you can feel it, a connection, not just to the animal they hunted, but to the cycle they're a part of. Life, death, gratitude. The ceremony ends with silence. Then Rena claps her hands and says something cheerful, probably, "Let's eat," and the moment shifts again, back to living, back to now. I step away from the fire, wiping my hands on a patch of fur tied to my belt. My fingers are sore, my legs ache, and there's dried blood on my face. But in a weird way, I feel better than I have in years. Not clean, not comfortable, but real. We're well into the afternoon now, and the sun is beginning its slow dip behind the jagged hills to the west. The light's taken on that golden, syrupy hue that makes even mud and blood look kind of majestic. That's when the toolmakers show up. Not like enter dramatically kind of show up, more like they just appear, quietly, from wherever they've been working. You don't notice them until suddenly there's a cluster of folk sitting on flat stones, surrounded by flakes of flint, bone shards, and splinters of antler, like some kind of ancient hardware store, exploded. I gravitate toward them because, 1, they're seated, which my legs appreciate, and 2, there's a strange calm about them. These are the quiet ones, the thinkers, the engineers of the tribe. While everyone else is running from aurochs or rubbing moss into wounds, these folks are shaping the future, literally. One of them is a wiry man named Back. He's got a thick brow ridge, a crooked nose, and fingers so calloused you could probably strike a match on them. He's crouched over a chunk of flint the size of a grapefruit, tapping it with another rock in precise, delicate strikes. Tink, tink, crack. A flake falls away, razor thin, and lands near my foot. Pick up, he says without looking. I do. It's sharp, like, really sharp. I barely touch the edge, and immediately feel it bite into my fingertip. Not enough to bleed, but enough to make me respect it. I nod, whistling low. Good, he says. For skin, for meat, for... He pauses, grins. Enemy. Fair enough. Back motions for me to sit, and I do, brushing flakes off the stone slab beside him. He hands me a piece of flint and a hammerstone, and gestures for me to try. I tap too softly. He clicks his tongue. I hit too hard. The flint cracks, weirdly, and flies off into the dirt. It's like breaking a chocolate bar just right, I mutter. He doesn't understand the words, but he gets the vibe. Eventually, I start to find a rhythm, hold at the angle, strike along the edge. Not too hard, not too soft. When it works, it's addictively satisfying. Each piece that flakes off has a glint, a wicked edge. It's like releasing hidden blades from stone. Makes you feel like a wizard. Here's your historical reality check. Making tools wasn't some brute force caveman nonsense. It was precise, intuitive, repetitive. Some of the earliest blades found in prehistoric sites are symmetrical, efficient, and far more advanced than the stereotypes suggest. Some archaeologists even argue that toolmaking played a role in developing complex language. You know, don't hit it there, Steve. As I continue chipping away, others join us. A few women, some older kids. Everyone's working on something: bone, needles, fishing hooks, spear points, even decorative beads made from seashells. And here's the kicker, we're nowhere near the ocean. Trade, someone says when I ask, holding up a necklace of worn shells, from far. Other people. That's another myth busted. Prehistoric people weren't isolated brutes. They had trade routes, networks, connections that stretched across regions. We're talking hundreds of miles. Sometimes want proof. Archaeologists have found obsidian tools in places where there's no natural obsidian source for hundreds of kilometers. Prehistoric Amazon. Basically, while I'm admiring a particularly fine spear point shaped like a leaf, a kid behind me starts telling a story. Not in words I understand, but in tone, gesture, and rhythm. It involves a lion well, something with claws, and a man who climbs a tree. There are sound effects, dramatic pauses, even a part where he roars and falls backward off a log for comedic effect. Everyone laughs, even backcracks a smile. Turns out gossip and storytelling are older than written language and probably just as essential to bonding. And here's something off the academic menu for today. There's speculation that prehistoric people may have passed down memories of real geological events, like floods or volcanic eruptions, through oral stories so detailed they survived for thousands of years. Some believe this might even explain a few of the earliest myths and flood legends. So next time your uncle tells you a tale for the 10th time, maybe he's just preserving ancient data. Suddenly, a voice behind us lets out a dramatic ahem. We turn. It's Tika, standing arms crossed, mock glowering at two teenage boys trying to sharpen sticks in very inappropriate ways. She grabs the spears, snaps both over her knee like she's breaking bad habits, and mutters something that sounds like children of mammoth brains. They scatter, back snorts. Tika strong, terrifying, I say same. By now, the sky is shifting from golden to lavender. The shadows stretch longer. Someone nearby starts to sing a low, humming tone that builds and falls like a tide. It's not words, exactly. More like music born from breath and bone. It's haunting, calming, it fits. A woman named Egia sits beside me, stringing beads onto a thread made of sinew. She hands me one flat, pale, clearly worked by hand, and shows me how to press it into a soft clay disc to make an imprint. Mark, she says, like name. I look around. Some people have these beads strung around their necks, some woven into their hair. It's personal, tribal, maybe even sacred. I press my bead in and pass it back. She nods, satisfied. So I've got a mark now. A little piece of me that might, in some forgotten cave 1,000 years from now, make someone wonder who I was. The thought sends a weird shiver down my spine. As we wrap up, Back points to the tool I made, a crude, uneven scraper, and says, keep, try tomorrow. It's not great. It's lopsided and chipped, but it's mine. My first tool, 1,000 generations late, but I'll take it. I slip it into my belt pouch right next to my pride, my curiosity, and a small pebble I found earlier that looked suspiciously like a potato dot. Hey, souvenirs are timeless. The day's winding down now, the fire in the center of camp glowing with a low hum of heat and light. The shadows have lengthened across the ground, turning the camp into a mix of soft golden warmth and the cold, creeping edges of night. I can feel the weariness in my bones, but it's not an unpleasant feeling. It's the exhaustion of survival, of contributing. Every muscle aches, but at least I know why. I did something today after the work with the tools, the food prep, the hunting. There's a quiet buzz in the air now, a sense of relief. The major tasks are done, the meat's hanging, drying or stored. The bones are set aside to be made into tools. The women are finishing up the berry paste treats. The children are chasing each other around, pretending to hunt with sticks, and everyone's generally shifting from work mode to rest mode. Well, except the night watch. The fire crackles and spits, a comfortable sound, almost hypnotic. The last few rays of daylight are fighting their way through the trees, and the sky turns from purple to that deep indigo where the stars begin to sparkle in the gaps. It's like the whole world is taking a breath, and that's when the singing starts. I don't know how to describe it. It's more than just a song. It's like the entire tribe is breathing and singing in sync. The low hum of voices rises and falls like the rhythm of the earth. It's hypnotic and soothing, filling the space between the trees. I close my eyes for a moment, letting it wash over me. This is something that I realize I didn't expect to see. In so many stories of the past, people are portrayed as just surviving, just hunting and gathering. There's rarely any time to think about the human side of it, all the culture, the connection, the stories that keep everything together. One of the women, Lyra, pulls me closer to the fire. Her face is lit by the flickering light, casting deep shadows under her cheekbones. She's older, wise, and she smells faintly of the herbs she's always grinding into powders. Tonight, you listen, she says, her voice soft but firm. I nod, not sure exactly what she means, but following anyway. The rest of the tribe gathers in a loose circle around the fire. There's something almost sacred about it, the way everyone knows their place without having to say a word. Lyra taps a large gourd drum lightly, and the sound reverberates deep in my chest. It's a rhythm, a slow, pulsing beat that matches the heartbeat of the earth. Slowly, others begin to join in. One of the older men picks up a bone flute and starts playing a slow, melancholy melody. A child with a small rattle shakes it in time with the beat, and then the singing starts again. It's not a song in the way we think of songs. It's more of a chant, a series of low, rhythmic sounds. The words don't matter, at least, not to me. What matters is the feeling of being wrapped in this moment, surrounded by voices that have known the land, the seasons, the stars, and the struggles far longer than my brief presence. This is the moment when I realize something deep in my bones. This is not just survival, this is living. These people aren't just eking out an existence, they're building a culture, a community. They're making music, sharing stories, passing down wisdom, and connecting with each other and with the land in ways I can barely even begin to comprehend. I can't help but get a little emotional. Maybe it's the fatigue from the hunt, or the overwhelming realization of how far removed I am from everything that matters. There's no technology here, no screens, no distractions, just people gathered around a fire, sharing their lives in ways that we've forgotten how to do. A young man next to Mitimo, I think, leans over and speaks in a hushed voice. You feel it, the earth is listening. I don't know how to respond, but I nod, because, in a way, it does feel like the earth is listening. The trees, the sky, the fire, they're all part of this moment, all part of the story that's been passed down since the dawn of time. The song continues. The rhythm grows stronger, and there's a sense of anticipation in the air, like something's about to happen. I can't explain it, but I know that this is a moment of transition, a bridge between the work of the day and the stillness of night, between the living and the ancestors. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the singing fades. The drum beats slow, and the flute player falls silent. The fire crackles one last time, and the air seems to settle, as if the night itself is taking a deep, slow breath. Lyra looks at me, her face soft with a quiet wisdom. Tomorrow, she says, we hunt again. But tonight, we rest, we remember, we listen. I sit back on my stone, staring into the fire as the embers glow. It's strange, but I can almost feel the weight of everything, the lives that came before, the stories that still need to be told. It's like the past is alive here, carried forward in every movement, every song, every piece of stone and bone. I glance around at the faces of the people in the circle, illuminated by firelight. There's no rush to get to the next thing. There's no hurry, just people, resting in the shared silence, letting the song of the earth settle in their bones. I feel a part of it now, not just as an outsider, not just as a visitor, but as someone who's been allowed to share in this ancient, unbroken rhythm. There's a profound peace in that dot, and then the night truly settles. The last notes of the flute fade into the cool air. The fire crackles softly. The stars blink down above us, ancient and unchanged. The song of the earth continues beneath the feet of the hunters, the gatherers, the children, and the storytellers. Beneath all of us, and in this moment, I understand that, in the end, it's not about the hunting, or the tools, or even the survival. It's about connection, about living in harmony with the earth, with each other, and with the rhythms that have existed for longer than we can imagine. Tomorrow, I'll wake up early, and I'll do it all again. But tonight, we rest. Tonight, we listen. I don't know if it's the firelight, the warmth, or the quiet lull of the night that's keeping me awake, but I'm restless. I lie on the ground, wrapped in a thick fur cloak, my thoughts spinning. The stars above look closer tonight, like I could reach up and pull them from the sky. But in the stillness, with the fire's glow slowly dimming, I realize I'm not just thinking about the stars. I'm thinking about the past. The people around me have lived through thousands of years of hardship, struggle, and survival. They've adapted, changed, and learned from everything: the earth, the animals, the seasons. But none of that knowledge is written down. It's passed from mouth to mouth, from one generation to the next. Every time someone sits down to share a story, every song sung around the fire, they're contributing to a long, unbroken chain. I roll onto my side and close my eyes for a moment, feeling the coolness of the ground beneath me. My breath rises and falls with the rhythm of the night. I can hear the occasional rustle of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl, and the quiet murmur of voices around the fire. There's a strange sense of peace in it, but also a recognition of something bigger than myself. This world, this time, is a constant flow. The seasons change, the animals come and go, the stars move across the sky, and yet, here we are, repeating the same rituals, following the same rhythms, living in the same way our ancestors did thousands of years ago. I glance up again at the stars. My mind drifts to the thought of all the generations that came before me. They lived by these same stars, under this same sky. They felt the same pull, the same deep connection to the world around them, the same sense of wonder, the same drive to survive, to thrive. The firelight flickers, casting shadows across the faces around me. I see the quiet contentment in their eyes, the certainty that, despite the dangers, despite the hardships, they belong here. They are part of something larger than themselves, something timeless. I shift again, unable to quiet my thoughts. I think about tomorrow, about the hunt, about the tasks we'll face. There's so much to do, so much to learn, but tonight, there's nothing to do but breathe. To feel the stillness settle into my bones. A voice cuts through the night. It's Tika, standing near the fire with her arms crossed, watching us all with a sharp eye. The way she holds herself, the way she commands attention even when she's silent, there's something about her that makes everyone listen. Tomorrow, we leave early, she says. Trackers, spears, be ready, we hunt. There's a quiet murmur of agreement around the fire. Everyone nods, their faces illuminated by the fading glow of the embers. No one complains. No one grumbles about the early hours or the hard work ahead. They know it's part of the rhythm, part of the dance they've been doing for millennia. I close my eyes again, trying to calm my mind. Tomorrow will come soon enough. We'll hunt, we'll work, we'll survive, and in between, we'll rest, we'll listen, and we'll live. The sounds of the camp begin to settle as the night deepens. The children's laughter fades into whispers. The fire crackles one last time, then dies down to glowing coals. The stars are now the only light in the sky, their cold brilliance, a reminder of how small we are, how fleeting our time is on this earth. But for now, for tonight, there's only the quiet. I fall asleep under the stars, my body tired but at peace. Tomorrow is a new day, a new hunt, a new chapter in this unbroken story, and I'll be a part of it. Even if I'm just a moment in the long, endless rhythm of the earth, I'm part of it. And for tonight, that's enough. The air's cold when I wake up, cold enough to make my teeth clack together before I even open my eyes. But that's how mornings are here. The night is a thick blanket, but the dawn rips it away, leaving you exposed. I don't even have the luxury of stretching before I'm aware of the sound of movement around me. Soft, purposeful footsteps in the mud, the low murmur of people stirring. I sit up, rubbing my eyes, feeling the stiffness of yesterday's work. In my joints, every muscle aches, every bone feels a little heavier than it should. But that's just life in this world. It's a good ache, a useful one. It means you did something, you contributed. This isn't the kind of tired that comes from sitting at a desk or staring at screens. This is real, visceral fatigue that comes from having to fight for survival every single day. The fire is low, but there are a few embers still glowing, giving off just enough warmth to make it seem like the night isn't completely over. People are already up and moving around, and there's a distinct hum of activity as the camp comes to life. I pull myself to my feet and quickly wrap my fur cloak tighter around me. There's a chill in the air that seems to seep into everything, my bones, into the dirt, into the thoughts I haven't fully woken up to yet. It's the kind of cold that makes you grateful for fire, for the warmth of the group. You don't realize how much you depend on others until you're here. In this primal world, with no distractions, no separation. Tika's already organizing the hunters, her voice cutting through the morning haze. She's giving directions, checking gear, making sure everyone is prepared. It's like a routine that's as old as time. The hunt, the task that drives everything forward. I watch her move with the quiet confidence of someone who's been doing this for longer than I could possibly comprehend. There's no breakfast in the traditional sense, no warm oats or fresh fruit, but there's meat. There's always meat. I grab a strip of dried horse from the racks and chew on it as I gather with the others. Some of the children run past, barefoot and laughing, chasing a small game bird that's already half as big as they are. It's a reminder that no matter how tough things get, there's still room for joy here. Play is survival. The hunters gather in a loose circle, checking their spears, their knives, and their slings. Gorn, who's still the picture of strength and focus, stands silently at the center. His obsidian blade glints in the pale light, and I can tell just from the way he holds it that this isn't just a tool to him, it's an extension of his will, an extension of his life. He looks over at me for a moment, his gaze sharp but not unkind. "Ready," he says. I nod, though I'm not sure I'm ready for anything. But the truth is, I don't really have a choice. We all have to be ready. We all have to do our part, and today is just another chapter in this unspoken agreement we have with each other. Survival isn't a solo endeavor, it's a collective, and today, I'm part of that collective. The rest of the group falls into line, the younger ones forming a secondary perimeter around the main hunting party. The air is still crisp, but there's something different about it today. There's a hint of something more, a change in the wind, maybe, or maybe it's just the fact that today feels different. The hunt feels different. It always does. In some way, there's a sense of anticipation that sits heavily in your chest, like you're standing on the edge of something big. We move out, walking in silence. The sound of our footsteps is muted by the soft earth, the low thud of the forest floor beneath us. We don't talk much. We don't need to. This isn't about words. It's about knowing each other without having to speak. Every person here has a role to play. Every movement is practiced, purposeful. You don't think about what comes next because you've already learned it. It's instinct, survival instinct. The trees around us are thick and tall, their branches reaching up to the sky like bony fingers. It's easy to forget, in the quiet of the forest, how much danger lies just beyond the trees. The predators that roam these woods are no less dangerous than the animals we hunt. They're just smarter. They know the land better than we do, and they don't have to worry about spears or fires. It's them or us, always. But that's why we're here. To fight, to survive, to make sure the tribe keeps going, keeps thriving. We don't speak as we move through the forest. The only sounds are the distant calls of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the steady crunch of boots in the underbrush. Every now and then, someone stops to examine tracks in the dirt, to inspect a broken twig, to listen. This is the moment we've trained for, the moment when everything hinges on a single sign, a single clue. Finally, Gorn raises a hand, the signal to stop. We've found them, the prey. A herd of wild horses grazing near a clearing. They're just a few hundred yards away, their ears twitching at the slightest sound, their sleek bodies rippling with muscle as they move across the grass. I can feel my heart beat faster in my chest. The hunt is on. We take up positions, moving slowly, silently. There's no panic, no rush, just careful, calculated movements. The horses haven't noticed us yet, but they will soon. They always do. That's the nature of a hunt. It's not about catching the prey unawares, it's about knowing when to strike, when to make your move. I grip my spear tighter, feeling the familiar weight in my hands. I know how to throw it, I know the motion, but it's the aim that's tricky, the timing, the moment when everything has to align perfectly. On my signal, Gorn whispers, his voice barely audible. The moment stretches out, and I swear I can hear my pulse in my ears. My fingers twitch, my legs tense, ready to spring. The horses are still grazing, unaware, but that won't last for long. They're about to feel the rush of 1,000 generations of instinct, of tradition, of survival. Gorn's eyes narrow, now, and in that moment, everything clicks into place. The world goes quiet. The air is thick with anticipation. The hunt is on. The world narrows to a single point of focus. The horses are in the clearing now, grazing lazily, but they're starting to sense something's off. You can tell by the way their heads flick up, the way their ears move as they listen to the wind. The rhythm of the hunt has shifted from a tense stillness to a slow, quiet charge. Everything I've learned so far, from the whispers in the woods to the careful way you hold your breath when trekking comes into play now. Every movement matters. Every second counts. I watch Gorn. He's calm, his spear held at his side, his muscles coiled with the kind of control only years of experience can give. He doesn't rush, doesn't make a sound. There's no need. He's the leader, and his stillness is contagious. We all move in unison, each step calculated, each breath timed to the moment. The horses are getting restless now. They can feel us closing in. They shift on their hooves, eyes darting, tails flicking. It's like they can sense the danger, but they don't know when or where it's coming from. That's the advantage we have. Surprise. The wind is in our favor. The trees are thick, hiding us from their sight. But the next few moments will be the difference between success and failure, between a meal and hunger. Gorn motions with his hand, and we start to close the distance. The horses are still grazing, distracted by the soft rustling of leaves and the quiet hum of the forest. They don't know yet, but soon they'll run, and that's when the chase will truly begin. I glance at the others. Kesh is to my right, his eyes fixed on the herd, his spear at the ready. He's younger than Gorn, but no less focused. Miro is farther out, crouching low, his every movement fluid, almost animalistic. He's quick. He'll be useful when the hunt turns into a chase. Tika, the quiet strategist, is already positioning herself. She's watching the horses' movements, analyzing which one is the most vulnerable, which one might break from the group. We all know the plan. Gorn will make the first move, driving the herd toward us. The younger hunters will pick the weakest members of the group, the ones who lag behind, the ones who are too slow. The rest of us will keep them from escaping. The tension in the air is electric, and I can feel it building in my chest. The weight is almost unbearable. But in the stillness, there's also a strange sense of clarity. For a moment, everything is sharp, as if the world has been sharpened to a single, focused point. My fingers tighten around the shaft of my spear. Eyes flick to me. It's a subtle gesture, but it's enough. I know it's time. We move. Gorn charges first, a swift, powerful sprint. He doesn't shout, doesn't make any noise, but the horses hear him. They raise their heads, their muscles tensing as they feel the shift. The leader of the herder, massive stallion, whinnies, its call sharp and urgent, and with that, the entire group surges into motion. The ground beneath us seems to tremble as the horses bolt. Their hooves thunder against the earth, the sound like a storm rolling in. The herd rushes toward us, and I brace myself. This is it. The chase has begun. I throw myself forward, running faster than I thought possible. My feet hit the ground in a rhythm, matching the beat of the chase. My heart is pounding in my chest, my breath coming in sharp bursts, but everything is focused now. There's no more doubt, no more hesitation. I can feel the wind in my hair, the adrenaline surging through my body, pushing me forward. The horses are faster than I anticipated, but they're not invincible. The young ones lag behind, struggling to keep pace. Gorn's spear strikes first. It's quick, precise, and the stallion he targets veers sharply, its momentum causing it to falter for just a moment. That's all it takes. I see my opportunity. One of the horses, a smaller mare, has broken from the herd, its legs slowing as it tires. I adjust my grip on the spear, lining it up. My heart races, but there's no room for fear now, only action. I take a breath, and with everything I have, I throw. The spear cuts through the air, the point gleaming as it flies. It hits the mare square in the side with a sickening thud. It stumbles, its body crashing to the ground with a heavy grunt. But the momentum doesn't stop. It's still alive, still fighting to stand, but it's weakening, its strength ebbing. With every movement, I'm already on my feet, charging forward. But before I can get close, the others are there. Kesh is at my side, his spear ready, and together, we close in on the wounded animal. The mare lets out a final, desperate scream, but it's too late. The hunters are quick, their movements smooth and practiced. We surround it, and with a few swift strikes, the job is done. The hunt is over. There's no celebration, no cheers, no triumphal shouts. Instead, there's just a quiet, solemn acknowledgement. This is survival. This is life and death, and we've earned our meal. I kneel beside the mare, my breath heavy in my chest, and for the first time, I let myself reflect. This isn't just a hunt, it's a ritual, a necessary part of life, but it's also something more, something that connects us to the land, to the animals, and to the ancient unbroken cycle that has sustained humans for millennia. I look up at the others. Gorn gives me a nod of approval. Kesh pats me on the back. Good spear, he says, his voice filled with the kind of respect that makes my chest swell with pride. We gather the horse, readying it for the journey back to camp. There's work to be done, more than I can count. But for now, there's a quiet peace in the air. The hunt is over, but the story continues. We drag the horse back through the dense underbrush, the weight of it slowing our pace but adding a strange sense of accomplishment. The forest seems quieter now, the chaos of the chase fading into a somber stillness as we move. There's no need for words. Every step feels like part of a larger rhythm, slow, deliberate, steady. I notice something for the first time as we make our way back to camp. The forest is alive with detail. The way the sunlight filters through the branches, casting patterned shadows on the ground. The sharp scent of pine and earth in the air. The quiet rustling of the leaves as a squirrel scurries by, its tiny paws making almost no sound at all. It's almost like the forest itself is aware of our presence, acknowledging us as part of the natural order. The realization hits me like a wave. I'm not just in this world, I'm part of it. The others are silent, each of us pulling our share of the load. Tika leads the way, her eyes scanning the forest with the practiced ease of someone who knows every inch of the land. She's calm, controlled, and despite the weight of the task, there's no rush, no frantic energy. She's as steady as the trees around us. The forest is more than just a backdrop. It's the stage upon which every day unfolds. It's where we hunt, where we gather, where we live. The land is our partner, and we are bound to it in ways I can't fully describe. But I can feel in every step, every movement. We reach the clearing near camp as the sun dips lower, turning the sky into a canvas of pink and orange. The fire is already crackling in the distance, its smoke rising in lazy curls into the air. The sight of it fills me with a strange sense of relief that we've made it back. Relief that the work is done for now. The camp seems peaceful in the fading light. The women are already gathering near the central fire, arranging the meat racks and preparing for the evening meal. The children are playing nearby, mimicking the hunt with sticks, their laughter bright and carefree. As we approach, I notice the quiet respect in the air. The tribe doesn't celebrate loudly, not in the way I'd expected. There's no raucous cheering or grand gestures. Instead, there's just a shared understanding of the work that's been done, a collective acknowledgement of what it took to bring this meal back. Gorn steps forward, his face set with quiet satisfaction. He speaks in short, deliberate tones, offering thanks for the hunt and the animal that has given its life. It's not a prayer, but it feels like a moment of reverence for the creature, for the earth, for the tribe that will sustain itself from this one act. As the others begin to gather the meat, I sit down by the fire, pulling off my boots and letting my tired feet rest in the cool earth. I glance around the camp, feeling a sense of belonging settle over me. I'm part of something here, a thread woven into the tapestry of this tribe's life. It's a quiet understanding, a bond built through shared struggle, and it's stronger than anything I've felt before. The fire crackles, sending sparks into the night air. The scent of roasting meat fills the space between us, and I can feel my stomach growl in response. The work isn't over. There's still more to do. The meat will be cut, prepared, and stored. The bones will be cleaned, sharpened, and put to use. But for now, there's a moment of peace. A young girl, one of the younger members of the tribe, approaches with a small bundle of herbs wrapped in leaves. She kneels beside me, offering the bundle with a shy smile. "Good hunt," she says, in broken words. It's not much, but the meaning is clear. I take the bundle from her, my fingers brushing hers. "Thank you," I reply softly. "Good herbs." She grins, then runs off to join the other children. Her smile lingers in my mind as I unwrap the herbs. They smell earthy, fresh, like the forest itself. It's a small gift, but it feels significant. It's a reminder that every part of this tribe contributes. Everyone has a role, no matter how small it may seem. As the sun sets completely, casting the world in the soft glow of twilight, we begin preparing for the evening feast. The meat is sliced, salted, and arranged on stone slabs. The fire crackles with new life, sending warmth and light into the cold night air. I watch as the tribe comes together, old and young, men and women, hunters and gatherers, each person taking part in the communal effort. I sit back for a moment, letting the sounds of the camp wash over me. The crackling of the fire, the soft murmurs of conversation, the laughter of the children, all of it blends into a single, harmonious rhythm. This is life. This is survival. This is community. As the food is passed around, I take my share, savoring the rich flavor of the horse meat. It's tender, savory, and warm. It's the taste of the hunt, of the earth, of everything that brought us to this moment. The tribe eats in quiet camaraderie, the food bringing everyone together. There's no rush, no urgency. We take our time, knowing that tomorrow will bring new challenges, new hunts, and new tasks. But tonight, we rest. Tonight, we share a meal and remember that, for all the struggle, there's still beauty in the small moments, the laughter, the food, the company. As the fire burns low and the stars begin to fill the sky, I feel that same sense of connection settle over me. The forest, the tribe, the earth, they are all part of the same rhythm. And for the first time, I truly feel like I'm part of it. Tomorrow will come, and we'll do it all over again. But tonight, under the stars and beside the fire, we are just people, living, breathing, and sharing a moment of peace in a world that never stops moving. The night stretches on, calm and unhurried. The fire has settled into glowing embers, casting long shadows across the camp. The stars above are brighter than I've ever seen them, pinpricks of light in the endless dark, as if they're watching over us. I don't know why, but tonight the stars seem different, closer, more vivid. Maybe it's just the exhaustion settling in, or maybe it's the weight of the day. Either way, I find myself gazing up at them longer than usual. The conversations around the fire are quiet now, soft murmurings shared between the elders and the young. It's the kind of night where you don't have to say much. The silence isn't uncomfortable. It's shared. Everyone's just letting the quiet settle in, letting the work of the day fade into the background. The day is done. Tomorrow will come. But for now, we're here. We're alive. We're part of this moment. I stretch out on the ground, the warmth of the fire still lingering on my skin. My muscles ache in that familiar, grounding way, but it feels good. I'm exhausted, but it's the kind of tired that comes with purpose. There's no time wasted here. Every action matters. Every movement is part of a larger whole. Every day is a story, and this one is almost finished. As I lie back, I feel the weight of the earth beneath me. The ground is cool against my back, but there's a strange comfort in it. The earth is solid, unyielding. It's been here longer than we have, and it will be here long after we're gone. There's something humbling about that, something grounding. A few of the children are sitting near the edge of the firelight, whispering and giggling as they pass a small stone back and forth. They don't have to say much either. Their joy is a quiet thing, simple, unspoken. It reminds me of how life used to be before the world got so noisy. There's peace in the silence, in the shared understanding that we don't need to explain everything. We just need to be here, to be alive. The air is still, and the sounds of the forest seem to have softened. The occasional rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owlet all blends together into a lullaby, lulling the camp into a peaceful quiet. The fire crackles one last time, and I realize it's the first time today that I've truly had a chance to just be. No hunting, no working, no rushing, just the quiet, the stars, the fire, and the people who share this moment with me. And then, almost as if on cue, I hear the soft hum of a song. It's not loud, it's almost like a whisper. The voice rises from the shadows near the edge of the firelight, a low, soothing sound that seems to ripple through the air. I sit up, listening, straining to catch the words, but it's not about the words. It's the melody, the cadence of the song that catches me. The song of the earth, the song of the tribe, the song of everything that has come before. Lyra, the elder who always seems to be watching from the sidelines, is the one singing. Her voice is soft but steady, the notes rising and falling like the breath of the earth itself. She's not singing for anyone. She's not performing. She's just singing to the stars, to the fire, to the land, to everything that sustains us. It's the same song, the same rhythm that has been passed down through generations. It's a song of survival, of gratitude, of reverence. The camp quiets, and for a moment, the world seems to hold its breath. We're all drawn to the sound, not out of obligation, but out of connection. The song isn't just a melody. It's a thread, tying us all together, across time and space. It's a reminder that we're not alone, that we've never been alone. When the song fades, there's a silence that settles over the camp. But it's not empty, it's full of meaning, full of history, full of life. I sit there for a long time after, just watching the fire burn low, watching the stars twinkle above, and listening to the soft, steady hum of the night. There's a peace in it, a peace that feels like it's been here since the beginning of time. The moon is high now, casting a pale light over the camp. The forest is quiet, almost asleep, and the fire is down to a few glowing embers. The camp seems smaller in the moonlight, intimate, almost sacred. The shadows are deep, and the world feels far away. For a moment, I can almost forget that I'm not from here, that I don't belong in this time. But then, I remember, I don't belong just to this time. I belong to all of it. I belong to the rhythm of the earth, to the pulse of the seasons, to the cycles of life and death. The earth is as much a part of me as I am of it. We're all part of the same song. I stand slowly, stretching my sore limbs. The fire has mostly burned out, and the last embers are fading to ash. I look around at the people still gathered near. The fire, some asleep, some still watching the stars, others lost in thought. There's no rush, no hurry, just the quiet of the night, the gentle hum of the world around us. And tomorrow, we'll wake up and do it all again. But for now, I lie back down on the cool earth, pull my cloak tighter around me, and close my eyes. The last thing I hear is the whisper of the wind through the trees, the distant call of an owl, and the fading song of the earth, and I sleep. The morning comes in sharp, cold bursts. I wake up before the light really touches the earth, feeling the chill of the dawn seep through my fur cloak. It's not the sort of cold that's uncomfortable, not yet, but it's the kind of cold that makes you pull your knees to your chest and wrap yourself tighter in your blanket, hoping for the warmth of the sun. The fire is little more than glowing embers now, the last remnants of the night's warmth slipping away into the cold, dark air. The first sounds of the day are small, the soft rustle of leaves as the wind shifts through the trees, the distant caw of a crow, the murmur of voices around the camp as people wake up, slowly, carefully, like we're all trying not to disturb the peace that's still hanging in the air. The camp is waking up slowly, too. There's no rush. I sit up, stretching, feeling the cool earth beneath me and the stiffness in my muscles. The ache from yesterday's work is still there, but it's a welcome ache. It's the kind of ache that means you've done something real, something meaningful. The smoke from the fire drifts through the air, the scent of burning wood and meat, hanging in the cool morning breeze. I watch the first rays of sunlight creep over the treetops, casting long shadows across the camp. And I realize with a quiet shock that I'm not looking at this world as an outsider anymore. I'm a part of it. I'm woven into it, just like everyone else here. The hunters are already up, sharpening their spears and preparing for the day ahead. They move silently, their movements fluid and practiced. their faces set with quiet determination. Tika is giving instructions, her voice low but firm, checking the gear, making sure everyone is ready. She doesn't have to speak loudly. There's a strength in her quiet that carries through the camp like a current. I pull myself to my feet, grabbing my spear and checking it over. The wood is smooth in my hands, the flint blade still sharp. It's an odd thing, this spear. It feels like an extension of me now. It's strange to think that just a few weeks ago, I didn't even know how to hold it properly. Now, it feels natural, as though I've always been part of this world. I join the others as they begin to gather, and the mood shifts from quiet reflection to focused action. There's something about mornings here, the way everything shifts from the calm of night to the purpose of the day. It's like the earth itself is taking a deep breath, stretching out from the night's slumber and readying itself for whatever comes next. As we move into the forest, the sounds of the camp fade behind us, the crackling of the fire, the murmurs of conversation, the children's laughter, they all fall away, swallowed by the dense trees and the silence of the wilderness. It's a quiet that's almost oppressive, as though the forest is holding its breath with us. We move in formation, each person knowing their place, the rhythm of our steps syncing with the pulse of the land. The ground is soft underfoot, the air still cool with the remnants of night, but there's a quiet energy in the camp that propels us forward. I'm starting to understand the rhythm of this world, the way everything moves in cycles, the rise and fall of the sun, the changing seasons, the constant push and pull of survival. Every day is a new chance to prove yourself, to be part of the tribe, to give something back to the earth. And as we move deeper into the woods, my mind starts to shift into the rhythm of the hunt, the quiet focus, the awareness of every sound, every movement, every step is deliberate, calculated. We're not just walking through the forest, we're becoming part of it. The trees, the leaves, the rustling underbrush, it all becomes a part of us, part of the hunt. I hear the low murmur of conversation ahead, the soft shuffle of feet in the underbrush. We're nearing the place where we know the prey will be. The land is familiar now. I know where the trails are, where the water flows, where the tracks lead. It's strange how quickly you can become attuned to this world. It's not something you learn from books or stories. It's something you feel. Tika raises her hand, signaling for us to stop. The hunt is about to begin. The moment of silence stretches out, hanging in the cool morning air. We're still. The forest is still. Even the birds seem to hold their breath. The tension is palpable. We all know what's coming. We know the stakes, but there's a quiet calm in it. We've done this before. We've survived before. We take our positions, and then the signal comes. The chase begins. We move as one. It's like the world snaps into focus suddenly. Everything is sharper, clearer. The pounding of hooves in the distance, the rustle of leaves as the prey moves, the subtle sounds of breathing, of feet moving across the earth, of muscles coiling in anticipation. The hunt is primal. It's pure, and it's ours. We follow the tracks with practiced precision, the sound of the animals growing louder as we draw closer. The energy shifts again, this time with an electric urgency. Every sense is heightened. Every step is calculated. There's no room for mistakes. There's no time to hesitate. The wind shifts, and I feel it against my skin. The scent of the animals, the scent of the hunt, fills the air. My heart begins to race, but there's no panic, no fear, just focus, just the rhythm of the chase. And then, with a final burst of energy, we close the gap. The first spear flies. The chase is on. The air is thick with tension. I hear the first spear whistle through the air, and the world seems to stop for a moment. The sound of it, slicing through the morning breeze, is a sharp, clear note, and then it hits. The target, a young stag, lighter on its feet than the others, its muscles coiled and ready to sprint. The spear strikes the side of its shoulder with a sickening thud, but the stag doesn't stop. It stumbles, but it doesn't fall. This is what the hunt is. It's about patience, precision, and the understanding that not everything will go perfectly. The animal is strong, it is fast, it will fight, it will run. The second spear flies. This time, Miro is the one who throws it. It cuts through the air with a smoothness that comes from years of practice, but it misses the mark, grazing the stag's flank. The animal speeds up, its hooves pounding the earth, sending small clouds of dust into the air. I can hear my heartbeat in my ears as I grip my own spear tighter. The rhythm is taking over now. The chase is no longer just about survival. It's about the dance, the coordination between us, the prey and the land. Every movement is part of a greater whole. Every strike, every misstep, every breath, it's all part of the hunt. We follow, running through the underbrush with practiced ease. The forest is alive with the sound of our pursuit, but it's a muted sort of chaos, branches snapping underfoot, leaves rustling, the thundering of hooves. The stag is ahead of us now, its pace quickening, but we're closing the gap. The air is cooler now. The morning fog starting to lift as the sun climbs higher, but there's still the sharp bite of cold. In the wind, I can feel it against my skin, my legs burning as I push myself faster. My focus narrows, the world growing sharper with each step. There's only the chase, only the movement of the animals ahead of us, the rhythm of the hunt. I can hear a voice in the distance, a low command, signaling the next phase of the chase. We're closing in on it now. The stag has nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. The herd has scattered, and this young one is isolated, separated from its family. It doesn't know it yet, but its escape is running out. I see it up ahead. Flash of movement between the trees. The stag is tiring, its pace slowing slightly, its legs faltering with each stride. It knows it's being hunted. It knows it's in danger. That's when I see my opening. I charge forward, my feet pounding the ground, the spear in my hand feeling like a part of me. I'm not thinking about anything except the target, the mark, the moment. The world narrows, everything else fading away as the distance between us shortens. I throw the spear. The motion is instinctive, a throw that's both powerful and precise. The spear flies through the air, cutting the space between us like a streak of lightning. For a moment, everything is still, the world suspended in that single, breathless moment. And then, it hits. The stag staggers, its front legs crumpling beneath it, the force of the blow sending it crashing to the ground. It struggles for a moment, but there's no escaping now. The hunters are on it, surrounding it, ensuring that the job is done. I stand there for a moment, breathless, my heart still racing, and I realize with a strange sense of pride that the chase is over, the hunt is over, and we have won. The stag, now lying on the ground, its body still, its eyes wide open, is the prize of our labor. But there's no celebration here. Not yet. We gather around the fallen animal, the air still and heavy with the weight of what we've done. There's no joy, no shouting. Just a quiet reverence for the life that has been taken and the life that will sustain us. This is the way of the world, the way of the hunt, the way of survival. Gorn steps forward first, his hands steady as he places them on the stag's body, bowing his head in a moment of quiet gratitude. It's not a prayer, not exactly. It's a sign of respect, a recognition that the animal's life has given us what we need, the food, the tools, the clothing. Everything we are, everything we have, comes from this earth. And today, the earth has provided. I kneeled beside the stag, feeling the weight of the moment. The others begin their work, cutting the animal open, removing the innards with swift, practiced hands. It's a ritual. The skin is peeled back, the bones cleaned, the meat cut into strips and prepared for drying or cooking. Nothing is wasted. I look up, meeting the eyes of the others. There's a quiet understanding between us. We've done it together. We've completed the hunt. We've provided for the tribe, for ourselves. There's no more to say. As the work continues, I step back for a moment, taking in the scene. The forest is quiet again, save for the soft sound of the hunters at work, the gentle hum of life in the air. The sky has cleared, the sun now shining through the trees, casting a warm glow over the camp. The world is alive, vibrant with the energy of the hunt. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new struggles, but for today, there's peace. For today, we've lived, we've hunted, we've survived, and as the day stretches on, and the sun climbs higher in the sky, I realize something I hadn't before. We are not just surviving, we are living. Every moment, every step, every breath, we are alive. The day stretches on, and the work continues, but there's a different rhythm now. The hunt is complete, the task done. The meat is being prepared for the fire, the bones are being cleaned, and the hide is being scraped clean of fat and flesh. But there's no rush. Everything happens in its own time. We've done what we needed to do, and now it's time to honor the work. I watch as the others work, the steady flow of tasks. It's almost meditative, the repetition, the focus, the communal effort. I can hear the soft scrape of bone against stone, the occasional flick of a blade. The sounds are familiar now. They don't feel foreign anymore. They feel like part of the landscape, part of the air I breathe. Tika is overseeing the butchering. Her hands move with practiced ease, carving the meat into strips that will be dried for later. She works swiftly, but with a quiet grace. There's an intensity to her focus, a deep understanding of what needs to be done. She's been doing this longer than I've been alive, longer than any of us here, and it shows in the way she handles the meat, the bones, the hide. I look over at Gorn, who is crouched by the fire, stirring the stew that's bubbling in a large pot. His face is stoic, but there's something in the way his hands move, the way he tends the fire. That tells me he's as connected to this world as anyone can be. His movements are deliberate, each one a part of the rhythm that holds this camp together. There's no grand gesture, no unnecessary flourish, just focus, just purpose. I feel a deep sense of respect for him, for all of them, for the way they've lived, the way they've survived, the way they've thrived in this world. They don't need words to explain what they've built. It's here, in every movement, every task, every day that passes. As the evening approaches, the fire grows brighter, sending flickers of light across the camp. The smell of roasting meat fills the air, mixing with the fresh scent of the earth and the sharp temps of burning wood. The scent is warm, welcoming. It's the scent of home. I sit beside the fire, watching the others work. The children have gathered around the edges of the camp, playing their games, mimicking the actions of the adults. Some of them are pretending to hunt, while others are busy making their own little tools from sticks and stones. The laughter of the children fills the air, a sound that's as familiar as the rustle of leaves in the wind. As the night settles in, I notice the change in the atmosphere. The camp is quieter now, the work slowing as the day winds down. The fire burns low, the light casting long shadows across the ground. The last of the meat is being roasted, and the bones are being set aside for the next day's work. The rhythm of the day has slowed, the pace easing as the night takes over. The air has cooled, but the warmth from the fire still lingers, and I can feel the weight of the day settling into my body. The exhaustion, the ache in my muscles, is still there, but it's not the same kind of fatigue that comes from work. This is a different kind of tired. It's the tiredness that comes from knowing you've done something important, something meaningful. I stretched my legs out, letting the warmth of the fire soak into my skin. The night is peaceful, the sounds of the camp settling into a gentle hum. The world around us is quiet, but it's not an empty silence. It's a silence that's full of life, full of the quiet movements of the earth, the rustling of animals in the trees, the slow beat of the world turning. For a moment, I close my eyes and just listen. The wind in the trees, the crackling of the fire, the distant call of an owl, the soft murmur of conversation, the steady rhythm of life. It's a rhythm that doesn't stop. It's a rhythm that has been going on for thousands of years, long before any of us were born, and it will continue long after we're gone. And in that moment, I realize something. I realize that this is what it's all about. This is life. Not the hunting, not the gathering, not the work we do. It's the connection, the way we're all bound together by this rhythm, by this earth, by this time. It's not about surviving. It's about living. It's about sharing this moment with those around you, with the land, with the animals, with the stars above. Tomorrow will come, and we'll do it all again. We'll hunt, we'll gather, we'll work. But tonight, we rest. Tonight, we share a meal, we share our stories, and we remember what it means to be alive. As the fire burns low, and the night deepens, I settle back into the soft earth, listening to the world around me. I'm part of it. I always have been. And for the first time, I truly understand what it means to be home. The night feels endless. I drift in and out of sleep, wrapped in the cool embrace of the earth, the distant hum of the fire keeping me tethered to the waking world. The sounds of the camp are muffled, the occasional whisper of the wind and the creaking of trees mingling with the low crackle of the fire. It's a quiet night, the kind of night that wraps you up in its stillness, making it hard to remember the noise of the world outside this little bubble we've created. But sleep doesn't come easily tonight. My thoughts keep drifting, restless, back to the hunt, to the work we did today, to the way we all moved together as one. It feels like a memory already, distant and fading, even though the day's just ended. The rhythm of the hunt has a way of carving itself into your bones. It's as if everything we did, every step, every breath was part of a song that's been sung for thousands of years. I roll onto my back and look up at the sky. The stars are clearer tonight than I've ever seen them, scattered across the heavens like diamonds scattered on velvet. There's a stillness to them, a quiet that matches the earth beneath me. The vastness of the sky feels like a reminder of how small we are, but how connected we are to everything else. I wonder if this is how they felt, our ancestors, the ones who lived before us. Did they lie on the ground at night, staring up at the stars, wondering about their place in the world? Did they feel the weight of their lives, of their tribe, resting on their shoulders? Or did they just live, as we do, moving from one day to the next, knowing that each moment counted? The more I think about it, the more I realize how much we take for granted. We're always rushing, always thinking about the next thing. But here, in this moment, in this world, time moves slower. There's no need to hurry. The earth doesn't hurry. The trees don't hurry. The stars don't hurry. It's only us. The wind picks up again, rustling the leaves in the trees and sending a shiver through the air. I pull my cloak tighter around my shoulders, but there's no sense of discomfort, just a quiet awareness that everything is connected, everything is in its place, moving in its own time. I lie there for what feels like hours, lost in the vastness of the night, my mind drifting between sleep and wakefulness. The firelight flickers, casting dancing shadows across the camp, and I can hear the soft murmur of voices in the distance. The tribe is still awake, still moving in the quiet of the night. There's no rush, there's no urgency. It's as if everything is holding its breath, waiting for the next day to come. The sound of footsteps draws my attention, and I see Tika walking slowly toward the fire. Her face is cast in shadow, but I can see the steady way she moves, the way she carries herself. She's always been the quiet one, the one who observes more than speaks. There's a wisdom in her silence, a depth to her that I've come to admire. She sits near the fire, her eyes scanning the camp, taking in everything with the calm intensity that I've come to expect from her. There's no rush in her movements, no haste. She simply is. I watch her for a moment, and then she looks up, meeting my eyes. There's no surprise in her gaze, no question, just a quiet acknowledgement that we're both here, part of this moment, part of this rhythm. And in that moment, I understand something about her, about all of them. They don't need to speak to communicate. They don't need to explain what they're doing or why. Their actions speak for them. Their way of life speaks for them. There's no need for anything more. Tika nods at me, and I nod back. It's a silent exchange, but it carries more meaning than words ever could. She rises and walks away, her figure disappearing into the shadows. I settle back into the earth, my mind quieting. At last, the fire flickers, and the last embers glow faintly in the night. The stars are still there, watching over us, their light reaching across the vastness of the sky. I close my eyes, finally letting the quiet of the night take me. Tomorrow will come. We'll wake up, and the rhythm will start again. The hunt, the work, the quiet moments shared under the stars. It's all part of the same cycle, the same song that's been sung for generations. And for now, for tonight, I am part of it. The morning comes too soon. I wake to the sound of birdsong, but the peace of the night is already slipping away. The first light of dawn pushes through the trees, soft and pale, as if the world is stretching out from its sleep. The cool earth beneath me is still familiar, still grounding, but there's a faint shiver running through the camp now. Another day, another cycle of work and survival. I sit up, brushing the last traces of sleep from my eyes, and take in the morning. The air is crisp, and I feel the bite of the early chill on my skin. There's no rush here, no urgency. The camp begins to stir slowly, people stretching, yawning, rubbing sleep from their eyes. It's a quiet rhythm, just like the one we followed yesterday. It doesn't matter that it's a new day, everything feels like it's been unfolding the same way for as long as anyone can remember. The sun rises, the fire is rekindled, and the hunt begins again. I stretch my legs and feel the familiar ache in my muscles, the kind that settles into your bones when you've done real work. It's a deep, satisfying tiredness that I didn't understand before, a tiredness that speaks of something more than just physical labor. It speaks of living, of being a part of something bigger than yourself. It's a tiredness that comes from contributing, from surviving alongside those who have walked this earth long before you. As the fire comes to life again, the smell of meat roasting fills the air, mixing with the scent of damp earth and pine. I hear the soft murmur of voices, the occasional clink of stone tools, the rustle of hides being pulled back from the shelters. It's like waking up in the middle of a living, breathing organism. Every movement has its place. Every person has their role. I stand up, brushing off the remnants of sleep and walking toward the fire. Gorn is already there, his face calm and focused as he stirs a pot of stew. Tika stands by the racks of drying meat, her hands working with the same quiet efficiency I've come to admire. The rest of the camp is beginning to form around the fire. The hunters gathering their gear, the women preparing food, the children playing games near the edge of the clearing. It's the same as every morning, and yet it's different. The sun is higher now, the air warmer, the rhythm of the day already beginning to take shape. I glance around, watching the others as they move. There's something about the way they work, the way they move through the world with purpose, that makes me feel like an outsider, even after all this time. They've been doing this for so long, surviving, thriving, that it seems as natural to them as breathing. But me, I'm still learning, still adjusting, still trying to find my place in this ancient, unspoken rhythm. But there's something in the way they look at me now, something in the way they nod when I pass, or offer me a piece of dried meat, or make space for me by the fire, that tells me I'm not just an outsider anymore. I'm part of this, part of their world, part of their tribe. And for the first time since I arrived, I don't feel like I'm just surviving. I'm living. I sit by the fire, joining the others as they begin to prepare for the day. The quiet hum of conversation fills the air, punctuated by the occasional laugh or the sound of a child's excited shout. There's no urgency, no rush, just a shared understanding that the work will be done, the tasks will be completed, and the tribe will survive another day. A woman named Edja hands me a small bowl filled with a thick, grainy porridge made from ground seeds. It's warm and nourishing, and I savor the rich, earthy flavor. She smiles at me, her face soft and warm, and for a moment I realize that these people, this tribe, are more than just survivors. They are family, not by blood, not by chance, but by the bond of shared experience, shared struggle, and shared triumph. The sounds of the camp continue as the morning unfolds, people talking, children playing, the crackle of the fire, the distant rustling of the forest beyond. It's a rhythm, a steady beat that's been going on for thousands of years. And I realize, as I sit here among them, that I'm no longer just an observer. I'm part of it. I'm part of the tribe, part of the rhythm of this ancient world. The day begins in earnest. The hunters moving out with their spears and tools, the women gathering herbs and roots, the children running through the camp with their endless energy. And I, too, fall into the rhythm. I check my spear, adjust the straps of my cloak, and join the others as we begin the work of the day. There's no grand ceremony, no dramatic shift, just the quiet, steady pulse of life unfolding. We move together as one, each of us playing our part, each of us contributing to the greater whole. The hunt will begin again, the work will begin again, and through it all, we will continue, we will survive, we will live. The sun rises higher, casting its golden light over the camp, and I know, deep in my bones, that this is what it means to be truly alive, to be part of the world, part of the rhythm, part of the tribe. The hunt will come, the work will continue, but for now, I am here, I am part of this, and that, in itself, is enough. The day unfolds like it always does, steady, relentless, and full of purpose. The sun is higher now, casting long shadows over the camp, the heat from the fire mixing with the coolness of the early morning air. The hunters are preparing to leave, gathering their spears and tools, checking their equipment. Tika is organizing the group, her voice quiet but firm, issuing the same commands she's issued countless times before. It's a familiar rhythm, one I've come to know well over the past few days. I grab my spear and check it over again, feeling the weight of it in my hands. The flint point is sharp and ready, the wooden shaft smooth under my fingers. The air is thick with anticipation, as it always is before the hunt. It's that moment when everything slows down, when every muscle, every breath, every thought is focused on the task at hand. The forest calls to us. It always has, always will. The trees stand tall, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze, the ground beneath our feet soft and uneven. We move through it like shadows, our feet light, our bodies attuned to the rhythm of the land. It's a world that doesn't care about USTs, doesn't need us, but here we are, part of it, moving through it, hunting it, The wind shifts, and I can smell the earth, the rich, damp scent of the forest floor, the faint tang of pine and leaves. It fills my lungs, sharp and pure. It's the kind of scent that connects you to the world, that reminds you you're not just living in it, but part of it. The earth is a living, breathing thing, and so are we. We're made of the same stuff: dirt, water, air, fire. We move through it, and it moves through us. I glanced around at the others, the familiar faces of the tribe, all of us moving as one. Gorn is leading the group today, his posture tall and steady, the weight of experience in every step. He doesn't need to speak much. His presence alone commands attention, commands respect. He knows this world better than anyone, and I can see the calm confidence in his movements. He's been here before, countless times, and he'll be here again. We move deeper into the forest, following the familiar path that the hunters have tread for generations. The trees grow thicker here, the underbrush denser. The air is cooler, damp with the morning mist that hasn't quite lifted. I can hear the soft rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, and the rhythmic thud of our footsteps on the forest floor. I'm aware of every sound, every movement, every breath. We follow the tracks of the prey wild boar, this time their large hooves leaving deep impressions in the soft earth. The trail is fresh, the mud still wet from last night's rain. Gorn crouches down to examine the tracks, his sharp eyes scanning the ground, looking for signs of movement. It's close, he mutters, more to himself than anyone else. The rest of us nod in understanding. We move silently now, our steps slower, more deliberate. The boar is close, and we need to be careful. They're strong, dangerous animals, and they won't hesitate to charge if they feel threatened. It's a delicate balance, approaching with the quiet precision of a predator while remaining cautious, enough to avoid the boar's charge. We split up as we move forward, surrounding the area where the boar is likely hiding. There's a tension in the air, a charge of energy that fills my chest. My heart beats faster, my muscles coiling, ready for action. I grip my spear tighter, the cool wood in my hand grounding me. And then, there it is, the sound of heavy breathing, the rustling of leaves, a grunt. I see the boar huge, its dark eyes wide with fear, its tusks gleaming in the dappled sunlight. It sniffs the air, sensing something's wrong, and turns its head, scanning the surrounding forest. In that moment, time seems to slow down. My breath catches in my throat. I can see the muscles in the boar's body twitch, its powerful legs ready to bolt at the slightest movement. I know what's coming. I know how quickly it can turn, how fast it can charge. Gorn's voice cuts through the tension like a knife. Now, and we move. The hunters close in, our movements synchronized, our steps as silent as possible. The boar charges, its hooves pounding the earth, its tusks flashing as it turns toward us. I hear the snap of twigs underfoot, the thud of our feet hitting the ground, and then there it is, the throw. A spear flung with all the strength and precision we've honed over the years. It flies through the air, and in that brief moment, I know it's going to hit. The spear strikes the boar just behind its shoulder, and it lets out a guttural squeal, stumbling forward before crashing to the ground. There's a moment of chaos, a blur of movement as the hunters rush forward, their hands steady, their focus unyielding. It's done. The boar is down, and the hunt is over. The forest falls silent, the sound of the boar's struggle fading into the distance. We stand still for a moment, catching our breath, the weight of the hunt settling in. The boar is ours now, its life, taken for the tribe, for the survival of all of us. Gorn steps forward first, his eyes scanning the boar's body, ensuring the kill is secure. We gather around, each of us taking a moment to pay our respects, to acknowledge the sacrifice the boar has made for us. There's no celebration, there's no shouting, just a quiet acknowledgement of the work we've done, of the life we've taken. The work begins again. The boar's body is carefully cleaned, the meat cut into strips, the bones set aside for tools. It's a ritual we know well. Nothing goes to waste. The earth provides, and we take what we need, but we do so with respect, with gratitude. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, the camp begins to come alive again. The fire is rekindled. The meat is prepared, and the tribe settles into its rhythm. The hunt is over, but the work continues. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new tasks, new hunts, but for now, for today, we've survived, and that's enough. The camp is alive with the sounds of activity as the late afternoon stretches on. The sun is low, its orange glow casting a warm light over everything. The boar is already being butchered, its meat sliced and laid out on stone slabs, ready to be smoked, dried, or roasted. The bones are set aside to be carved into tools, and the hide is scraped clean, prepared to be made into clothing or shelters. There's no waste. Here everything has a purpose. Everything is used. I'm sitting by the fire, my legs stretched out in front of me, watching the others work. There's no rush. The work will be done, but it will take its time. It always does. And in the quiet moments between the tasks, I can hear the rhythm of the camp, the soft murmur of voices, the rustle of leaves, the crackling of the fire. The world is steady here, like the pulse of the earth itself. I glance around at the tribe, taking in the familiar faces, the movements. I can see the young ones, those who are still learning the ways of the hunt, the ones who have yet to fully understand the weight of what we do. They're playing nearby, mimicking the actions of the adults with their sticks and stones, pretending to hunt, pretending to carve. They don't know it yet, but they're already learning. The rhythm of the tribe is in their bones, just as it's in mine now. And then, there's Tika moving between the groups with that quiet intensity. She's overseeing everything, ensuring the meat is being prepared correctly, checking the tools, and making sure that every task is being done the right way. Her movements are fluid, practiced. She's been here longer than any of us, and there's a deep sense of calm in the way she works. She's not just a part of this world, she's a force within it, a steady anchor that keeps everything together. I watch her for a moment, and then she catches my eye. She nods at me, her face softening just a little. It's a gesture of acknowledgement, of inclusion, and I realize, in that moment, that I'm no longer just an outsider here. I've been woven into this tribe, into this rhythm. I'm part of it now, in ways that I didn't fully understand before. I get to my feet and walk toward her, my legs still aching from the hunt. She looks at me as I approach, her hands steady as she slices through the boar's meat. "You did well," she says, her voice low, but there's an undeniable pride in her tone. I smile, a bit surprised by her words. "Thanks, I wasn't sure. I was ready, but I did what I had to do." She nods. "We all have to. That's how it works. But you're learning. We all are. Every day. The land teaches us. The hunt teaches us. And we keep going." Her words settle deep within me. There's something about them, something simple, yet profound. It's the understanding that life here isn't about being perfect. It's about learning. It's about growing into this world, into this rhythm. We all have our role to play, and we do the best we can. That's enough. I look over at the others, at the children playing nearby, at the older members of the tribe who are quietly carving tools or preparing herbs. There's a shared sense of purpose here, a bond that goes beyond the work, beyond the survival. We're connected by something deeper, something ancient. As the evening approaches, the tribe gathers around the fire once more. The meat is roasted, and the aroma fills the air, making my stomach growl in anticipation. I can hear the quiet chatter around the camp, the sound of food being prepared, of stories being shared. And it's in these moments, as the night falls, and the stars begin to peek out from the darkening sky, that I realize just how much this life has changed me. I've always been used to rushing through life, always thinking about the next task, the next goal. But here, there's no rush. The rhythm of the tribe, the pace of the earth, teaches me to slow down, to listen, to be . And as the fire burns low, and the tribe settles into its evening routine, I understand what it means to live fully, to live in connection with the land, with the people around me, with the world that surrounds us. It's not just about surviving, it's about living with purpose, with respect, and with gratitude for the earth that sustains us. The night deepens, the stars glittering overhead like ancient eyes watching over us, and I feel the weight of everything that has come before, the ancestors who walked these lands, the rhythms they followed, the lessons they learned. And I realize, as I sit by the fire, that I'm part of that story now. I'm part of the tribe's story, part of the earth's story. Tomorrow will come, and we'll rise with the sun to do it all over again. The hunt, the work, the rhythm. But tonight, we rest. Tonight, we share a meal, we share our stories, and we remember that we are alive, we are connected, and for tonight, that's enough. I lie back on the ground, my eyes turn to the stars. The fire crackles softly beside me, and I let the peace of the moment settle over me. The world is vast, but here, in this quiet corner of it, I've found my place. And with that thought, I close my eyes and drift into sleep, knowing that tomorrow we will rise again. But tonight, we rest together. Good night, everyone.